Hi, and welcome to Style Thoughts by Rita. So, if you're here, my goal is to help you figure out what type of style you want and to help you go for it. So, ideally, what happens for you is that you have seen some of my content. Maybe you've seen something in the stock key, and then you recognize, look at the pictures I show you, or you just have some understanding of the essence you want, and you're like, this is me, this is what I like, this is what I want, but how do I make this happen, right? So just because you want to do something, just because you realize your essence, your best style, your most authentic self looks like this, doesn't mean that you can make it happen right away. So I'm going to help you with that today. This question I hear all the time, like, where am I supposed to find clothes? I'm going to help you. I'm going to talk about improving your shopping skills. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, I'm going to give you a little bit of a pep talk. Your stuff is out there. Okay? That's the name of the pep talk. I've talked about this before, but we are living in the golden age of shopping. There are billion garments, there's way too many garments produced all the time. There are so many brands, there are so many aesthetics. There is stuff out there for your body type, for your aesthetic. The thing you want is out there, and the key is just to trust the process and start looking for it. If you're not finding the things you like, that's just because you're not good enough at shopping yet. It seems really silly because shopping is trivialized as this oh, haha, women be shopping type of activity. But shopping is a skill. Being able to translate your dreams, desires, and intentions into physical, tangible, wearable stuff that you enjoy having on your body. It's not easy. It's something you need to practice, and it's something you need to get better at. So the first thing in getting better at shopping is actually accepting this mindset that if you're struggling, it's not because everything sucks, even though there's a lot of garbage clothes out there. If you're struggling, it's just because you need to improve your shopping skills. And the way to do that is to take one step at a time. Hi, Stella. Hello, everybody who's here. Thank you for joining me. So we're going to talk about my two really helpful, really good strategy tips today. Before we get into it, I just want to give you an announcement. I have a new Style Key 101 PDF. It's a free overview of my system. What is the point of the system? How does it work? How do you choose your style key? What do you do when you choose it? It's just a really simple step-by-step breakdown. You can download it for free on my website. I'm going to put the link in the description box below. So if you're newer here, if you've been here for a while, but you just want a nice overview of the system, it's really great. It's beautiful. It's very clear, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So that being said, let's talk about but I think that basically when it comes to shopping, it is really important to understand that there is two types of shopping, and I call it browsing versus searching. So the browsing is when you don't really have a specific thing in mind, when you're like, I want to get something new for summer. Let's see what's out there. You don't necessarily maybe have to buy anything. You are driven a lot by curiosity in terms of finding out what the options are. It's a process of observing and discovering, right? So you go onto your favorite website, you scroll through 100 things, and then you just hope to get lucky. So that's browsing. And then there's searching. Searching is I know what I want. I have a specific goal in mind. Maybe that's a specific event I'm trying to get dressed for. That could be just a specific aesthetic upgrade I want to make, wardrobe for a new season. I need to make 3 new outfits. Unlike browsing, this is a very focused, intentional state of mind where the goal is to really just figure out what's for you, commit to that thing, and put in the time and effort until you get the result. I think every person has their own balance of browsing and searching. I talked about this before. I think it's really important to figure out where your happy balance is. But more importantly than that, just fundamentally, I think you have to be aware that these are the two ways that things come into your closet. So if you want to bring cool new stuff into your closet, you want to improve your skill on browsing and on searching, I guess you should pick one and you should start improving that first. So think about how you tend to operate. what works well for you. Pick one of those things, and then we'll talk about how you can improve it. So to improve browsing, right, as I said, browsing is this process where you just scroll and you hope you get lucky. So in order for you to find the types of things that suit your vision, you first need to set your style intentions. And this is something we talk about in Style Thoughts by Rita all the time, right? So what is your intention? What's your style logic? What do you want to accomplish? This could be something as vague as I need some new work outfits that I feel really confident in. It could be something as specific as I'm looking for summer dresses in bright colors with cute details. Whatever it is, you do need to figure out what you're looking for. If you have no idea what you're looking for, then you will just get stuck in decision fatigue, information overload. It's not good for you. So you need to set the intention. I think the best way to set the intention is by focusing on your style key and whatever other styles, systems, rules, whatever you have that works for you. The second step in improving browsing is to notice and stop looking at stuff that's not for you, right? So in this scenario where you enjoy browsing, but you are not finding the types of things that you as a person want to wear, that means that you are browsing in the wrong places. So in order to notice that, you have to be observant and you have to notice from a meta perspective, right? So this isn't, it's like catching yourself being like, I never see anything I like. I've been kind of shopping around for these last couple of weeks. I feel uninspired. I have found nothing I like. That's perfect. Then you're like, I am looking in the wrong places. It's as simple as that. Realizing that if you're not seeing anything you like, nothing fits your intention, you are looking in the wrong places and you need to start looking in better places. So now we need to find you better places to look at. And that's the third step. We are going to make a list of go-to brands and find new ones, right? So I do just because you haven't found stuff you like doesn't mean you're starting from zero. I would look at the brands that you tend to wear. What brands are those? I would make a list of brands where you've had success before, brands that you do like browsing, and you also want to find new ones. So basically the thing is, if you're going to browse, you want to be strategic with your browsing. And if you're a vintage secondhand shopper, this is the same thing. You still want to kind of update your filters, update what you're looking for, right? So whatever your search settings are, you want to adjust. So you're looking at different brands, different colors, whatever. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to find new brands because it feels like, oh, this is so easy. This is the hard part. So let's practice together because finding new brands is not difficult. I mean, it takes effort and it takes time. But like I said, this is the golden age of brands. Whether you want handmade cottagecore tea dresses from England, or you want artisanal linen block print, small woman-owned business, or you want glam club wear. There are so many brands catering to that. So you just have to put in the effort to find it. I'm going to show you quickly one way to do it. So let's say you typically have been browsing in Boden, Old Navy, and Target. You are browsing for summer dresses, and these are the things that you are seeing. Thinking about your intention as a person, you're like, I do not like anything I'm seeing. It all feels cute and it's too girly and I don't know. It just it's not the vibe, right? So in our hypothetical example, you're like, okay, obviously the reason I'm not happy is because these stores are catering to a type of aesthetic that doesn't suit me anymore and I need to get a new aesthetic. What do I really want, right? Going back to setting that intention. Well, I want to feel more cool. I don't like all of these cutesy little prints and details. I want it to be chic, minimalist, and maybe a little bit edgy and cool. Okay, so let's like slap a label on it. Really easy. I think place to start is to, a Scandinavian minimalist brands, right? Edgy, like less sweet, less detailing, kind of cool vibes. And when I just Google Scandinavian minimalist brands, guys, infinite lists, right? Scandinavian Capsule Wardrobe 2024. 18 of the best Scandi brands, 42 Scandinavian brands you need to know. Look, you guys don't need to read literally every single one of these pages. You don't need to spend 10 hours doing this. But if you just set like a 15, 20-minute timer, you browse these websites and you notice like which brands are coming up time and time again. Or maybe like, oh, which brand has some cute photos I like. That's it. That's your starter list of brands. And again, you're not committed to shopping from these brands forever, but these are the new brands you're using for browsing inspiration. So if I'm following this Scandinavian minimalist brand, I quite immediately would find Filippa K, I would find Koss, I would find Ganni, and then these are like the dresses I find, and I'm like, oh yeah, like these are so cool. I don't know if I want to buy these, but like this is so much more what I'm looking for. They look so much more cool, so much more understated, so much less frilly, right? So it's like I am giving myself just a completely different browsing experience just by saying like, hey, these brands I've been browsing are not it. Here's what I want instead. I look up a list of brands, I find some new brands, and I browse them. It really is that simple. There's no, like, I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole like of researching every single possible brand. And of course, some of these brands, you think you like the aesthetic, but you never find anything. But still, guys, like it really is that simple to just like find new brands based on the type of vibe that you're looking for. And this gives you an idea to start browsing. And this can be a great way to get new ideas about what type of stuff you want to wear, right? So maybe you realize Scandinavian chic wasn't quite it for you, but you do realize you love slip dresses. And then you can start browsing for slip dresses, right? You just go from there. All right, now we're going to talk about how to improve the other part of the equation, the shopping. I want to say hi first because I saw some people commenting. Vian said this is great info. Narstyle says, don't have time to watch it live, but have been waiting for this topic. You're welcome. And Chuana says, your earrings are glorious. Thank you. I love them. You know me and like my deep, deep love for anything sparkly. All right. So improving browsing. I know I'm just going to repeat the steps so you keep it in your mind. If you're a person who loves to browse, which means you want to scroll, you're not looking for a specific thing, you just want to get inspired. If you're browsing and you're not getting inspired, the first step is to realize I am looking in the wrong places. Where are the places I want to look for? What's the vibe I want? I don't care if like you don't really want Scandinavian. You can try some different labels. The point is you got to slap some sort of a label on it and find a list of brands. You can also do this by finding influencers that, like on Instagram or Pinterest who recommend brands, right? This literally these people's jobs is to wear brands and link them for you. And again, you don't need to commit to learning every single brand that's out there. You just need to be like, okay, I'm going to browse these 30 influencers. What's a brand that keeps coming up? I'm going to start browsing there, right? Just like to get some new stuff circulating in your imagination and get yourself away from the stuff that doesn't work. Great. Easy, wonderful. Now we are going to improve the other strategy, which is the shopping strategy. And as I was talking about, shopping is about having an intention. You're like, I know what I'm looking for, and I want to find it. So with improving shopping, again, the first step is to set your style intentions, right? What are you looking for? So if you're using the style key, you could be inspired by a specific set of keywords, right? You're like, I want pieces that are intriguing, sporty, and cool. I want glamorous, mystery, ethereal. You can bring these style intentions from another style system you're using. You can bring these style intentions from a celebrity whose look you like. It doesn't matter. The point is, the starting point is that you have some idea of like the type of look that you're trying to accomplish. You don't need to know exactly what you're looking for, but you just need to set the overall style intention. Once you have your style intention, you have to make a list of specific items and search terms. This is the part that people really struggle with. You guys, when I make videos like, oh, how to dress for the ethereal aesthetic or how to dress for the colorful aesthetic, I get a lot of comments from people being like, Rita, I really like this, but I have no idea where to find these clothes. And the reason you don't know where to find these clothes is because you are expecting to find a store that sells like ethereal outfits. And yeah, there are a couple brands that specialize in specifically selling like ethereal magical wear. Like of course they're out there. But I'm telling you, the overall like scope, market, and selection of ethereal items or edgy items or colorful items is so much bigger than these specialty brands. So instead of thinking about like this dream where you walk into a store and everything there is perfectly arranged for your aesthetic, you need to start instead thinking about like, okay, what types of stuff am I looking for? And this is a skill. It's a skill you're going to work on. It's a skill that you need to refine. So when I say specific items and search terms, right? For Rita, I love dreamy things. So I am looking for shimmery satin. I am looking for floral print. I am looking for sparkly big earrings. I'm literally sorting on earrings websites by size, right? I am looking for keywords like embroidery. I'm looking for specific patterns. Like you guys know, I love florals, right? So I'm not just searching for a kimono. I'm searching for like purple floral peacock kimono. That's like the type of item I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a new dress, I'm searching for like colorful midi shirt dress. So the types of keywords you want to specify are related to the visual aspects of the item, right? So that's like the silhouette, right? So midi dress instead of dress. It could be the fabrics you're interested in, right? So like satin midi skirt. It could be the colors or the patterns. Patterns is a great thing to search for, right? So embroidered kaftan. So you're looking for really specific things. Also, if you have ideas for embellishments, right? I wear a lot of strappy shoes with little details. So I'm going to search like strappy ballerinas rhinestones. That's going to be like hot pink strappy ballerina shoes. That was my search term for my new favorite pair of summer shoes. So you need to make a list of these specific items and search terms. And then you need to just type that into Google. And the third step I'm going to talk to you about, you have to learn how to look past the brand styling. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? It's like if you want to start dressing ethereal, you expect that there's this ethereal store that caters to your ethereal desires. But in reality, they might have some amazing stuff, just like the regular, I don't know, literally Target, like River Island, whatever. But that thing will not be styled in the way you want it to. So you really need to focus up on like learning how you are going to style that item rather than at how it is being presented to you. All right. So it sounds really simple. It is simple. I want to say quickly, you don't need to make this list of specific items. Like you don't need to know everything you're possibly looking for. But the challenge is to come up with like, okay, what are some specific things I like about this aesthetic? So I'm going to like walk you through an example. So let's practice. Let's say you watched my ethereal style stream. You really love the ethereal styling. You go on my Instagram, you look at my reels, you find that I did some examples of ethereal styling for the Sapphire Key. And let's say you were really drawn to this idea. Let's say you're really drawn to this idea of what I call Demeter, the harvest goddess for Sapphire, right? So it's like, rather than just looking at the pretty pictures and being like, where do I find stuff like this? Instead of asking, where do I find stuff like this? The question you're asking yourself is, what is this stuff, right? Like, what am I seeing? And I want you to literally be pulling out like a piece of paper or a Google Doc, and I want you to be making a list, right? So what do we see here? I am seeing dainty gold jewelry, like a lot of it, right? So like lots of small shimmer jewels. I am seeing like unusual textures like satin and velvet especially. I am seeing details like lace, brocade. I am buttons, right? I'm seeing like exaggerated sleeves. I'm seeing wrap shapes. I'm seeing maybe like a cropped velvet jacket, right? Like that could be an interesting idea to explore. Cropped velvet jacket. I'm seeing like, oh, necklace with a ribbon, right? I'm seeing like a textured satin blazer. I have this one in pink, you guys. I'm seeing something like, again, I'm seeing like a velvet soft blazer, casual velvet blazer, right? I'm seeing knee-high leather boots. I want you to get so specific, just describing what are the literal items that you are seeing that you like. You're not going to buy all of these things, right? But I want you just to like make a list of these things and start searching for them. Make a list of like 5 or 10 pieces that you think are interesting. Start searching for that stuff and just clicking through to different brands, different websites, and being like, okay, here's some stuff that could potentially fit this vision, right? Obviously from there, like it's a process and you have to winnow down and figure out, okay, what am I going to get? How am I going to style it? But the initial hurdle of just going from like initial, like, okay, I want to dress ethereal, to like, what am I looking for? That's the hurdle we're working on now. Like, what am I looking for? And your goal is just to generate a lot of options for yourself. And then, yeah, from there, choosing which option to go with, choosing how to style it. That is all style work also. But in this stream, we're really talking about like, where do I find this stuff? And where you find it is by getting super specific about your search terms. So what I said earlier, remember about looking beyond looking past the brand styling, right? So if we looked at our beautiful Demeter inspiration board and you were like, oh, I love the idea of like dressy, pretty, like rich colors, right? Like autumn blazers. Okay, I like typed orange velvet, orange satin blazer into Google Images, and here's some things I found, right? And I love these pictures. So on the left, she's wearing like what I think really suits our suits like our Demeter board. It's a brown satin flowy suit, but do you see like they have styled it in a very different way? They are contrasting the brown satin with this bright white, kind of sporty, sexy with the sneaker and this crop top and this chain, right? So the styling of the suit is not at all aligned with the vision of like the ethereal sapphire. So if you were just browsing, you maybe wouldn't stop on this thing. Or look at this lady also, like this suit is actually really cool. I have that in the picture, but again, like the way they styled it, just even with the model with having her hair scraped back very severely, and with this kind of strong black color and just like her posing, she doesn't have that dainty jewelry. She doesn't have those other things. So it can feel like, oh, this isn't what I'm looking for. On the other hand, this lady, she's really styled kind of like the Demeter board. But if you look at it more, you may be like, okay, but just because it's styled in a bit that way, like I think a velvet blazer that's so structured would be like too much for me. So what you want to do here is to really practice your discretion on like, okay, I had the search idea. How well is the thing I'm finding actually aligned with what I am looking for, right? Because ultimately, you're not trying to replicate the inspo board. You're using the inspo board to get started on stuff. So that's it. That's my tips. It's to really think about, are you more of a browser or are you more of a shopper? Pick one of those that you enjoy, because I don't think it's good to try to improve 2 skills at the same time. And then if you're a browser, then figure out like, am I looking in places that don't inspire me? I need to find some new places to look that do inspire me. What are my keywords? And if you don't want to look at brands, you can use the same process just to find new influencers to follow, new Pinterest, whatever pages to follow, just to like get more visual inspiration. If you're more of a shopper where you're like, I love to kind of make a wish list and I love to hunt those things down, then again, I want you just to practice getting specific about the type of piece you're looking for and then searching for it and looking beyond the way it's being styled. It's really is that simple. It's not easy, but it is that simple and it's that straightforward and there's no greater mystery to it. I want to like reemphasize my pep talk. I've worked with so many people. You guys, you don't have you don't have, I promise you, the person watching this don't have the uniquely weird body, taste, and life situation that makes it impossible for you to find stuff. The stuff is out there because there's just literally more stuff out there than ever before. So that's it. I'll check the comments a bit. Kenny says, watch it later when I finish work. Chandra says, sometimes we type something too specific, it comes out nothing. Yeah, so that's definitely true, but you can like always experiment with like, okay, so I didn't find anything when I searched for like purple satin lace edge camisole. Okay, can I search for like lace edge satin camisole instead? Can I look for a different color? Or can I search for a purple blouse instead? So like, it's just about manipulating the parameters until you do find something, because part of the skill of shopping is realizing that like we cannot create the reality of what's out there, right? If midi skirts and maxi skirts are what's trending, it's going to be difficult to find a knee length skirt. So also like if there's like things you keep trying to find and you're just like not getting anywhere, it just means those things are not being made right now. And then it's to go back to the drawing board and figure out like, okay, how else could I achieve this effect, right? So right now, like satin actually is really, really big. So it's pretty easy to find stuff that's like satin. Other times that's not easy at all. Right now is a great time for bows, right? Other times bows are out of style. Last year, for me, with my dreamy keyword, I love flowers. Okay, you guys know I love flowers. So last year when corsage blouses were trending, I got 2 or 3 blouses that have this like big flower on them. Maybe you've seen me wear it. Right now, I couldn't find anything like that. So if that was on my list, I was searching for, I didn't find it, I would be like, okay, I have to try a different type of item. It's just like being realistic about the limitations of what's out there. Corin says, this is where I get stuck. I have a clear image in my mind. Then there's a piece that I just can't find because it's not on trend. Yeah. But and the thing is like, it's really great that you realize, and then this is where you get stuck. And first of all, like, I feel you, it is very, very frustrating. So I'm not trying to say like, just get over it. But it's like, if that's the block and that is preventing you from like having the style that you really want, then you're like, how can I get around this? How can I start working around this as a person? Just like, what am I most attached to about that picture? Because the thing is, stores will surprise you, right? Like, I know I like, florals, whatever. I wouldn't think I would. This jacket is kind of cropped. I wouldn't think I like a crop jacket, but I realized once I got it, that actually works perfectly with a lot of the silhouettes I'm doing right now. So it's also just like about learning what you're willing to be flexible on and not willing to be flexible on. So for some people, they're like, I have to have natural fibers. There's like non-negotiable. I have to have natural fibers, and I really like bright colors. Okay, so those are the non-negotiables. So what is negotiable then, right? Because the thing is, ultimately, it's like if you're gonna be stylish and you're gonna have the style you want, you're gonna have to get stuff that really suits you. Maybe what you're willing to negotiate on is time, and you're a person that's gonna spend 100 hours browsing every single organic cotton, colorful place until you find that perfect thing, perfect price, perfect whatever. If the thing maybe you're willing to negotiate on is the silhouette, where you're like, it's the perfect color, it's the perfect texture. I wish that this skirt was longer, but like, yeah, I'm satisfied enough, right? It's just kind of about being realistic about like what really is important to you, and not kind of demanding that the universe provide you with like literally the specific thing you want. Because it's just not going to happen. And then it's like, it hurts you, right? It's not that it's like, oh, this is a bad thing to do. It's just like, it hurts you because then you don't have cute stuff and you're feeling like victimized, but really there's a lot of other cute stuff that you could have and you could be happy with. It's a bit of like mindset shift, I guess. Yeah, Chandra says we should let go of the perfectionism. Yeah, exactly. As long as the effect is there, we shouldn't overthink into getting the perfect item. Exactly. And I think that's the best way of putting it, right? And again, like I, of course, always think about everything through the lens of the style key. And that's why I love to emphasize the style logic so much, right? So if, for example, I am using the Ruby key, I have this left down style logic, and I'm really looking for like, what makes me feel powerful, confident, and creative, It's like, okay, this top, I don't like this stupid like neckline. Like it's dumb and I wouldn't choose it, But when I put the top on, I feel so confident. I feel so creative. When I style this top, it's great. So it's like, who cares ultimately if the neckline isn't the best it can be? Like, I am getting what I need out of the clothes and then move on with my life instead of like, just being trapped in this limbo of trying to make something happen forever. Stella says, do you have a favorite brand? No, I mean, but I have like my list of go-to brands for sure that I have developed over the years. And I like to split them up into, for myself and for clients that have been on the journey for a while, I like to split it up into like the bigger brands where you're likely to find stuff versus like smaller boutique brands where you're like, oh, this is like my hidden gem, right? So I love, for example, Alma and Pena for shoes. That's like my hidden gem. It's a pretty small Spanish shoe brand. They make the perfect like princess sandals for summer. I love it, right? But I will only go there to buy my pair of sparkle summer sandals, right? I'm going to buy one pair a year. I love to expand my shoe wardrobe with them. But in terms of like big brands, for example, like River Island, they're a really big fast fashion brand. They're the place I find has good price, quality, and design for me. A lot of times when I browse there, I won't find anything. A couple times a year when I browse, I'll be like, oh, this stuff is cute, and I get something. So it's kind of like I have my own little shopping directory, and that's something you want to build up, right? But the way you build it up is by setting the intention of what type of stuff you're looking for and giving yourself time to try through and explore what works for you, right? Can't skip that experimentation phase because also different brands fit different, right? So it's also about figuring out like some places you love the design, but when the clothes come, they never fit, or you hate the way the fabric feels from them, or the colors never show up, right? So there's always going to be trial and error. And so that's it. That's the important thing I want to leave you with is that like, it's not going to be easy. It always is just a process of trial and error, and it takes work and it takes time and it takes vision, but it is also like relatively simple. So the main thing is just to not get discouraged and just to keep going and to really focus on why you're doing it. Like, what is the point of all this, right? The point is not just so you look like a beautiful ethereal sparkle princess. It's like, I want to look like a beautiful ethereal sparkle princess because that's what makes me feel good every single day, right? Then the effort is worth it if it's going to make you feel really good every single day. So that's like my biggest tip in general with style always, right? Is to keep in mind, like, why are we doing this? And it's not just to get likes on Instagram, right? It's because when you wear the clothes, something magical happens to you. And the best style helps you be who you are. It helps you grow as a person, helps you feel really, really good. And that's why we're doing it. We're not doing it to have the perfect neckline, the perfect whatever, because like none of that stuff matters that much, really, So just that's why I also like this letting things be good enough and just like trusting the process and just kind of following through with it. That's the cue we need. Okay. Oh, and speaking of the cue we need, if you missed it in the beginning, I have this free, new, beautiful, clear, written introduction to the style key. I'm going to link it below. So if you've been wondering like, what's going on with the system? Where do I fit in? How do I start using it? Everything is in the guide. You can get it for free on my website. I'm going to link it below. And yeah, if you're watching this, the recording, if you're watching it live, if you have any questions, if you want anything for me to talk about in the future, just like leave me a note. I love to hear from you and I love to make content that people are requesting. So really don't be shy, okay? Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.